Alright you guys, so today I'm going to be continuing our little series on stitching 1.7 biomes with our 1.6 server. So I decided to start with Xsampl3's, and the reason for that is because it's sort of isolated from the rest of the server. As you can see, it's not connected to the main area where the rest of us are. Similar to Big Bad Loser's base, which is going to be the next place I go to after examples. And the reason I decided to start with examples is because it's farthest away, number one, so I'll be able to know that this is going to be completely isolated, and also because since it's a smaller task, a more isolated task, it means that I can perfect my technique and find out what works on a much smaller scale without being overwhelmed by the fact that when I get to the larger scale stuff, I'm going to have a huge job of stitching just an enormous border. So starting on the small scale is going to be where I get most of my confidence in the fact that this is going to even potentially be doable. So I sent this screenshot to Xsampl, and I had him mark out what biomes he wanted to keep. And he gave me something that looked a little bit like this. And I'm going to just make it a little bit easier to see. Could have used something else besides stroke, but that's all right. So this is basically what he gave me. He didn't really circle any of the biomes that had snow in them, and I know for a fact he wants me to change things like I'm going to be doing for my Extreme Hills biome, so that it doesn't snow in certain areas on his castle and stuff. And as you can see here, he cut through this part of the Extreme Hills. Now, what I told him was that I would give him at least what he asked for, potentially more. And by that I mean that I'm going to give him these biomes that he asked for, but I can't guarantee that this shape is going to work exactly perfectly for stitching, so I might give him a little bit more. Now, I should also note to him, it looks like there's a jungle temple up here, so I'll talk to him about that in a minute. But while I was working on this, by the way, in case you guys are wondering, this is what the 1.7 generation looks like. So this water area right here, we're lucky that that's sort of similar. So this is definitely a great place for me to start. I'm feeling really confident about this because I'm going to be able to really learn my technique and stuff here. And it's kind of cool that there's another witch hut right here, especially considering the fact that in 1.6 he's got one right here and he's got another one right here. So let's go ahead real quick and just kind of draw this out. There's one witch hut, another witch hut, and then in 1.7, where'd that other one go? Right here. So it'd be interesting to see, and we're actually going to be able to figure this out probably in this episode, about if you were to stand here, could you get? Probably not. I don't know if mobs spawn at that distance, but basically that kind of brings me to my point now, and that is that I was sitting down to start to work on this, but I realized that I might be doing more work than I have to. Because on the server, we've already taken out a big portion of the land that was here. And in order to make this ultimately completely efficient, we're actually going to be removing all the land anyway. So I talked to Xsampl about jumping on the server and drawing a circle with blocks to figure out what we want to do and see, so that I can basically identify a lot easier the biomes that I'm going to be switching out. And that's actually going to make this a lot easier for me, I think, because I can copy just what we've done with the perimeter and leave everything else so long as it's within what he wants to keep and not keep. And we should have a pretty decent start once we get that done. So anyway, I'm going to hop on the server and we're going to get started. And then I'll check back with you guys when we're a little bit farther along. All right, so here we are. We're on top of the witch hut and we found the center. There's Xsampl. And I told him what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going, this is the center block, and we're going to count out 160 blocks in each direction. And then we're using a circle generator to guide us in a circle pattern, so that we can generate a giant circle I'll be able to look at in Minotaur, which is the program I've been using to create those maps. And then we'll see if we went too far, like if we need to do a smaller one, because I convinced Xsampl that it's a good idea for us to do a larger than normal perimeter. And the reason for that is the theory is sound, that you'd want to do like 128 blocks in all directions or whatever. But that only really applies, I think. I mean, this is, kind of conjecture on my part. I'm not 100% sure on all the facts, but this is what it seems like to me. That sound, when you're standing in the exact center of the farm. But by going a little bit farther, in this case we're going 160 blocks, that should make it so that as you're coming close to the farm, it's going to start operating, and you don't actually have to be right in the center for it to be ultimately efficient. It's going to start basically wherever you are that the witches could potentially start to spawn, they're going to have the most optimum chance to spawn. That's the basics right there. Anyway, so I'll check back with you guys when we have a little bit more of the circle done, or if something else comes up, if I see something, like for instance, I'm sure it won't, but if I go 160 blocks and I end up in the middle of his castle, we'll know that we're going to have to make some changes, and I'll hop back on for those. Alright, you guys, well, I'll check back with you guys in a bit. Alright, so in case you were unclear as to what I was talking about earlier, we've been having a little bit of trouble because apparently we are off by one, so the numbers that we were using we ended up having an extra in one of the increments, but it ended up working out. So Xsampl3's just pulling his hair out over some areas where we decided not to meet in the middle. I was pulling my hair out a second ago, just not understanding why something that should have had 19 had 20. Anyway, so here you can see this is the center of the witch hut. And we look around here. That's what we're going to basically we're going to carve out everything underneath it, and it's going to be like the way that let's see if I can show you from up here. It's going to be like that, like these underwater bubbles with these pathways to the different spawners and stuff that we find, and then the witch hut's going to be here, and that's basically going to be it. So now I'm going to go ahead and hop back into Photoshop and show you guys what this looks like and what this means. By the way, I just took it and MC edit from I duplicated the world and I finished it up just copying this one over and over again. So let's go ahead and hop into Photoshop and take a look at what we can use it for now. Alright, you guys, so here we are, and here you can see, let me get rid of that, you can see the perimeter here, and it's a little bit hard to see, so I went ahead and made a little ring just to make it a little bit easier. And if you look here, clearly the ring does not, we wouldn't benefit from standing in the center and doing our witch farm at all these huts. It's not feasible. They're way too far away, which is cool because then we don't have to worry about them. And this process of working on Xsampl3's gets even easier. Anyway, so as you can see, he's got labeled out here. He's got this river-ish snake thing right here, and I'm going to extend this just a little bit more, and again, I drew this based on a drawing that he sent me of what he wanted to keep, so I've got leeway. I haven't talked to him yet about this. Actually, I should probably get on that, because if he wants to keep this, I'm going to have to grab a bit more, but ideally what I kind of want to do is I want to link up those rivers into these rivers so that he's got a nice continuous stream, and water seems to be one spot where it's pretty easy to stitch things, at least that's what it seems like it's going to be. And he's going to have some nice new biomes around him that aren't going to be too far away, so he's really got it good, honestly, because he's so isolated in that regard. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and continue, and I'm going to try to figure out exactly what the best opportunity or the best approach is, and we will jump back in to Minecraft in a little bit once I sort of have an idea of what exactly I'm going to attempt to do. Alright, you guys, so I had intended to hop on and start stitching right away now that I had the ring. Oh, and to be clear, because I watched the video back and I understand it seems a little bit unclear, when I mentioned that I was using MCEdit to copy the ring around, I meant that I did that in a single player copy of the server, not on the server itself. Everything on here has been done completely legit. I'm just going to go ahead and make a daytime real quick. Right as I was about to start stitching, I got an email that said that Xsampl was live streaming, and I went and checked out his live stream, and it turned out that he was in the process of tearing down the stuff, because originally I was just going to copy it and let him tear down the mismatched geometry, or geography, I guess you could even call it, he was just going to tear it down, and basically, you know, like we did with over here, you literally tear it down straight to bedrock and leave the water level. And then down at bedrock, we have this little design we've been doing. But he had already started that. So I decided to hop on and help him. And we've made a lot of progress. And over there, you can kind of see that instead of helping, Big Bad Loser decided to build a sandcastle. And it intersects completely with the ring that we're cutting out. So anyway... over here, we just finished this. We worked all day basically yesterday, or yesterday at the time of me recording this, and we've really carved out a big portion. And right now, also in 1.6.4, sprinting seems to be a little bit busted. You can see we got a beacon over there. That's a haste beacon, and that's kind of what we're working on. A lot of people. Oh, geez, no. Aww. A lot of people on the server have come to help in this endeavor. So it's been great to sort of have a community project going on. I'm just going to go ahead and get my stuff back, and then I'm going to get back on working on this, because I'd like to get this sort of flushed out and at least somewhat finished before I start the stitching process, just so that I don't have to stitch it more than once in the future. Anyway, that's about it, and I'll check back with you guys in just a little bit. Alright, so this is where we had up to this point. And now I'm going to go ahead and show you all the progress that we've made. Here we go. Alright, so now you can see that everything's at least one level underwater, except for BBL Sandcastle, which we're about to remove anyway. So now the next process in stitching is going to be going into both this 1.6 world and also a 1.7 generated world in order to set up pillars that we can use to register where things are, so that when we copy things over from the 1.6 world into the 1.7 world, we don't have to worry about them not exactly lining up where they should. Alright, so here we are in a single player copy of the server world, getting ready to start stitching the stuff together. So like I said before, the first thing we need to do is set up a registration peg. This is actually something that I used in episode 77, but I didn't really talk about how I did it. So let's go ahead and look at this. So we're going to hit F3, and I'm looking at the coordinates, and I'm just going to go TP 4400, 100, and 12500, and that should put me in the water, right? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab a lily pad, place it there, and then I'm going to grab some gravel and place it on top. And we are going to go up to Y level 100. And then we're going to use the teleport command again, and we should, yes, we land right on top of it, so we're good. Now, I'm going to log out, and I'm going to switch up to 1.7. I'm going to open up a 1.7 world, and I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, I'll see you guys there. Alright, so I'm near Xsampl's base in the latest snapshot, and I'm going to go ahead and teleport. Actually, I've already got it up here. And now I'm going to fall and do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and pillar up until I get to Y level 100. Now I'm going to go ahead and use teleport again. Great, land right on top. Okay, so now I'm going to jump into MCEdit, and I'm going to use this pillar as my registration point between the two worlds. And let's go ahead and see how that looks. Alright, so here we are inside of MCEdit, and I'm going to go ahead and start by grabbing this spot right here. I'm going to just select this, and I'm going to go all the way to the other side. And I kind of lucked out in this because I actually do land right on the gravel. But there are ways to figure this out without having to start on the right spot. But we're going to go ahead and grab this, and I'm going to now select up one so that I grab all the torches and stuff. And I know there's nothing else above that, so we're okay. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to grab down to bedrock. All right, so make sure that's good. Yeah, we're good. All right, I'm going to copy this, and as you can see, it's going to place it up here, so I've got that saved for later. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to nudge forward like that, and I'm going to nudge out this way until I get all of that spot, right? And I'm going to do the same thing over here, and then I'm going to zip over to this side, right over here. And now I'm going to nudge in so that now I am selecting just the next part of the ring. And I'm going to copy this. And I know that I am bringing in pretty much the whole thing of this selection again. I'm bringing it in a second time. But that's okay because it's just going to help me line it up each time. And then basically I'm just going to keep doing this until I've got the whole circle. And I'm going to spare you guys the weight of me going through that because I know that's just not going to be fun to watch. So I'm going to copy this one as well, and I'm just going to have them saving up here. So let's go ahead and jump into the next the 1.7 world and start pasting this stuff in so we can really see and sort of get our idea going. All right, so here we are on the 1.7 world, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring in this area, and I'm probably going to need to wait and cut back in because it's not going to load right away. But I'm just going to kind of lower it down so I know it's a little bit closer to where it should be. And I'll check back with you guys in just a bit when it starts to load in and I can kind of see what I'm dealing with. I'm also going to make sure that I have copy air, copy water, and copy biomes on. So now, let's see. You got to make sure I don't confuse these two. There's the gravel I want to line up with right there. And here's the one that's moving. So we're going to go ahead and get this in the right spot. And we're just going to go ahead and nudge, nudge, nudge. There we are. So now that's lined up. I've got copy air, copy water, copy biomes. Going to hit enter. And there you have it. So this is the start of our very long process. And there's a pretty good chance, there's a really, really good chance that I'm going to be copying and pasting more and more and more and more and more chickens into the chicken farm that's like right over here, but we're gonna live with that. We might have to kill them for lag's sake, but right now we're not gonna worry about that right now. So we're just gonna keep moving in this sort of path. I'm gonna bring in the next one, put this one down, and line it up again. And look, it's going a little bit faster now, so that's great. And then once that's done, I will check back with you guys once I've got the whole ring sort of copied in here. All right. So it took me about 4 hours, but I finished this area. Here's half of the sandcastle. But yeah, so this is done, and now I tried just a second ago to load up this world, but the chickens, or at least I'm gonna hope and assume it's the chickens, caused so much lag that I was down at 0 FPS. So I'm going to go ahead and select this and delete entities. And you have to understand that there were a lot of chickens in there, and then I copied them back in over 160 times doing the whole ring. So let's go ahead and hop into Minecraft. And I know that I've copied all these squids. There's tons of squids around here now. But let's hope that we can jump into Minecraft and get this working okay. All right, let's see. Oh, beautiful. We can look at those squids. Look at those squids. Oh my God, the donkeys. Oh man, what have I done? Oh my gosh. I gotta make sure I'm on peaceful. Get rid of any extra mobs. Holy cow. All right, I'm gonna fly up and then drop back down to get rid of those squids. Oh my God, no. There's like 160 donkeys over there. Okay, here we go. Fly up. There we go. That's much better. I think that got rid of them. It seemed like they all disappeared at the same time. Let's check. Nope. Oh man, that's just horrendous. Oh, and I fell off while trying to re-render this stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is teleport to spawn area. Oh, this is 1.7. That's right. Now I'm going to teleport back and see what happens. Probably nothing. Probably have to actually walk away to get it to do it, but what was it? 12500. Yeah, that got rid of those squids at least. So shoot, there's an awful lot of donkeys over here, and most of them are going to drown if I'm gonna break this. Oh crap, I need to save one of them. And when they die, so many items are gonna be falling out. I gotta save one. Where's the lead? Got it. Gotta save you. You're saved. Alright, well, my sense of urgency is lost, I guess, because... Oh my god. What am I gonna do? I guess I'll use a potion of damage. Now, this was a sort of a unique case. I don't expect to run into this sort of... my god, what do the damage potions look like? I never use them. There's poison. Invisibility. I can't see it because the stupid thing goes underneath the... This is damage, right? Or harming. Yeah, that works. Oh. That's not bad. What do they have in them, I wonder? Oh, well, a lot of stuff. Alright, anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and take care of some of these donkeys. And I'll check back with you guys in just a little bit for the next phase of this, for this project. You know what? I kind of realized that it would probably be a lot easier to just grab this whole area right here, select chunks, and delete entities. Then those are the items that all those donkeys were dropping. So now I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to open up the other world. Alright, so now I'm copying this area of this world to get just the animals that actually matter. And we'll jump back in, and chunk a line, and snap, and enter. There we go. So now I got one donkey, and however many chickens were in there before. That'll do it. Save. There we go. Alright, so that takes care of that. Now, let's jump into Photoshop and look at how we're going to handle some of the other parts. Alright, so we finished this part, and we're probably going to leave, you know, this stuff over here, and a great deal of this stuff as all 1.7 generated, and not copy any of this 1.6 stuff. Xsampl asked me specifically to take at least this desert and at least this jungle. So we're going to be working on that. Which of course means that I'm going to be going through that horribly, horribly obnoxious process of using sponges and laying out where everything is. Now, I've come up with another technique to make that part a little bit easier. Still not necessarily as easy as using the snow in 1.6.4, but easier nonetheless. So you guys know how when you go from one biome to the next in Minecraft, the grass color will change. That's because of this part of your texture pack, or your resource pack as they're called. So I want to make a custom resource pack that's going to make it even easier to see when biomes shift, so that I will have an easier time eyeballing the border I want to make. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to invert this, and then I'm going to increase the contrast on it so that it's a lot easier to see where things shift from one biome to the next. Alright, that ought to take care of it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get my resource pack set up, and we'll check back inside of Minecraft to see exactly how helpful this might be. Alright, so actually I realized there's something we should probably be doing inside of MC Edit real quick. So let's grab the desert that we want to make sure we keep, and go up. Let's grab some of the forest just so that we know that we're definitely far above the highest trees, so that's good. Alright, so I'm going to want to select this, and what I'm doing right now is the same thing I did. You can see I've got a height of 1, so that's good. This is the same thing I did before, so in my last episode. So we're gonna fill this with sponge. And I hope it's okay that I just filled in an area that had a chunk that wasn't loaded yet. Probably not a big deal, since I'm going to be copying around that anyway. But oh well. And if that is in fact going to be the case, I should probably, since I already sort of created these chunks by accident, I should just grab the rest of that jungle, biome we want to keep. So fill and replace, sponge, and fill. Now, the reason I'm using sponges, even though we just talked in Photoshop about viewing the grass, is because since some of the chunks that I'm going to be, some of the biomes that I'm going to be copying are touching the taiga biome, I'm going to use the snow as a helpful border. And let's go ahead and repopulate. And if I did this with grass, and you guys may have noticed a lot of pink chunks already in this video, that's because I already attempted this. And as soon as I hit grass instead of sponge, I knew this was going to happen. And I'll talk about that in just a second. So we just repopulated this. We're going to save. We're going to hop into Minecraft, and I'll explain a little bit more. All right, you guys. So here we are in this world, and as you can see, we got exactly what we wanted. We got a nice little outline. Now, the reason you don't want to repopulate with grass instead of sponges, which is something I did and immediately regretted right as I was doing it when I was trying to record this bit before, is because basically sponges can't generate trees and little holes with sand and water and stuff in them, but grass can. So repopulating with the grass on a flat plane up here, I got a ton of trees coming through this bit, obviously, and trees all over the place. But now that I've got this sort of laid out, I'm just going to go ahead and walk around and make sure that I populate these chunks by loading them. And of course, that is funny. You guys want to know what this is? This is, if this had been grass in this repopulated, instead of seeing just the roads and stuff, you'd actually see an entire village up here. Right here, I believe this would be the well. Whoa, that's not good. That is really not good. Yikes. Yikes. I'm going to have to get another backup of the server to fix this. Yeah. Well, I don't know why they couldn't generate up there when this wasn't grass. Oh, you know what? I know what happened. Oh, man, that's funny. Because I already loaded this world after I repopulated when this was grass, and every time I have to switch back to 1.6 or update to 1.7, my music comes back on. And I love C418. I love the music, but man, when you're recording, that's tough. So I copied a bunch and deleted, so that I could get rid of the stuff that was up there. And I guess I probably left stems where these things repopulated back on top. So I'll have to take care of that again too. But yeah, that's not a huge deal. We can fix that. Anyway, back on track. So I'm going to go ahead and go into MC Edit. You got to be kidding me. Let me up here. I'm going to go into MC Edit, and I'm going to replace all the sponge with grass, and then we can finally get on with what we were talking about with the stuff I was just doing in Photoshop. Alright, so I grabbed up the sponge, and let's fill and replace, search for sponge, found you, replace with grass, replace. Alright, and then the next thing I'm going to do, just because I don't want to have anything happen to it, just in case, you know, I'm going to nudge up. Oh, wrong button. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look for snow layer. Alright. And I'm going to replace it with bedrock. Alright. Replace. There we go. So now, as soon as this is done, we can hop back in and finally start to use that resource pack I've been talking about. Alright. Gonna save, and I'll see you guys in Minecraft. Alright, so you're gonna notice that around the bedrock, which is the definition of where the taiga layers are. Oh, didn't mean to do that. You'll see that there's like this little thing where it's changing color, and obviously that's because it's changing into the taiga colored stuff, which I guess the dirt there didn't really help illustrate my point. But you can see over here, this is river. So this is kind of important. This is the stuff I need to know. And then I can see there's some desert here. So, and I will know that I'm going to make a guess right now. So that's going to be desert, 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 desert. So here we go. Desert, 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 river, river, river. Yeah, so it's actually not that hard to see. Oh, looks like I missed right here, though. That's also supposed to be desert. River and river. All right, so now let's go ahead and use our texture pack and see how much easier, how much more of a change we can give this. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and look at this again. Hopefully those, dang it. I was going to say, hopefully those haven't turned back into dirt. There, oh, there we go. Alright, so this is a bit easier to see. It's sort of hard to tell here, but actually what's kind of nice about this is that it makes even the ones that were a subtle difference a lot easier to kind of see. Like, it's a lot easier to see this to that than it was when I didn't change this. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this back as taiga before I forget where it was. Taiga, taiga. This was taiga, and I think there was one more, right? Yeah, taiga. Alrighty, good. Goody, goody, good. Right here. Okay, good. Alright, so now, obviously this right here is the desert. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to put, what do you call this, sponge around this border. And I'm going to just sort of place out where the river is and where the desert is. And that way, when I actually get into copying this stuff into the 1.7 world, I'll sort of be able to see a little bit easier. And it's pretty easy right here to see where that river was and all that. And I'm just, right now, I'm not quite sure whether or not I do in fact want to keep the river or not. I think I'm probably going to have to, but I'm just not quite sure yet. So it's good to have the option. And of course, because I don't see the biome colors in MC Edit, and I don't know of any way to select, like, to click on one spot and say flood selection to entire biome or something like that. We have to do it this obnoxious, difficult way, unfortunately. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and continue this. And I'll check back in with you guys probably in a week. I don't know how long this is going to take me, but it's not going to be an easy process. And unfortunately for us, not that it's a huge deal, but this did end up being in the small desert that Xsampl actually wants to keep. So I've got that to look forward to as well. All right, well, I'll check back in with you guys whenever this is done, and we'll see what happens. All right, you guys, so I wanted to jump in because I found a couple more techniques that have made this go way, way, way faster. All right, so this over here is the desert biome that we want to keep. And I'm also outlining the river because I think it's going to come in handy. Now, because it doesn't rain in the desert, I added something to my special resource pack. So let's take a look. Alright, so I know this looks weird, but it makes it really, really, really easy to see where the river biome that I want to be going out the line starts. So I just go ahead and do this, and I am making excellent time in this particular setup. So that's really nice. And we're gonna just have to see how this looks. When I start, when I start actually copying this stuff into the 1.7 world, I'm probably not gonna do a lot of that on camera. I'm probably just gonna work around it and maybe show you guys some progress here and there. But this is gonna just take a lot of time, and it's mostly me eyeballing it. And I'm just gonna do the best I can. And the main purpose of me even doing this is to preserve, for example, I'm trying to preserve his view, which in this case is the desert. And also, not only the view, but also the fact that he just wants to have, I guess, sand nearby or something. So that's what I'm giving him. So I'm just going to keep doing this and just go around until I've gotten basically an outline of everything I need. And then I'm going to also try to outline in a little bit less in a more free-form way, I'm going to outline some of the extreme hills biome that we're going to be moving over. And by that, I mean, in terms of doing that free-form, I mean that since I'm copying an extreme hills into an extreme hills, the border is less important because it's just going to go on top of itself. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and I will check back in with you guys in a while when I'm ready for that bit. So I'll see you guys then. Alright, you guys, so I just wanted to jump in and kind of show you guys the progress. I've outlined everything, so everything inside of this mark is going to be copied in for the jungle, and everything inside of this mark is being copied in so that I've got that desert. And, you know, the first step I'm going to have to do after this is I'm going to go into MC Edit and I'm going to remove all this grass. Whoop, I've got a speed effect on. I'm going to remove all the grass. And then I'm going to remove all the bedrock and all the snow layers so that all I've got is the sponge. And then I'm going to set up registration pegs like I did at the witch hut. And I'm going to, the first thing I'm going to copy in without using the copy biomes option is I'm going to copy in the sponge layer, and that will let me use the entire sponge area as its own registration mark. And then I'll just start copying stuff over. And I will jump back in much later than now when I've sort of got this stuff closer to completion. And I'm basically just going to be making decisions, eyeballing it as I copy and paste stuff in. And if something comes up, I'll hop in and record it. But chances are I'm just going to be spending the next week or so in my free time copying this stuff in. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, you guys, so I just wanted to jump in here and kind of talk about some more techniques. So I already talked to you about how I was going to remove everything except for the sponge layer, and that's what I did, but I actually copied the sponge layer and moved it down so that I'd have two. And then I copied in the lower half of the sponge layer with my registration pillar, which is right here. And that way, when I bring in the next thing, I'm actually bringing in both sponge layers, and this is the one that I actually copied in with copy biomes so that I could see, there we go, what I want to do. And then I can line up with the lower one and find out where I am. So right now I just lined up right here, and as you can see, there you go. And we're gonna jump down here and make sure that it's lined up right. It looks like it's not changing anything that's already there, so that's good. And there we go. Now you'll notice that this is well, first of all, note that this is a straight line. The reason for the straight line is that in 1.6 this is an extreme hills biome, and it's also an extreme hills biome in 1.7. So that was kind of the point. I'm going to be able to copy and paste a little bit more freely with that particular biome because I'm not worried about changing the biome itself and preserving the biome border. You know, this is just phase one, unfortunately, of the entire process, and I am going to have to go in and smooth out a bunch of stuff by hand, but we will see. You know, I'm not 100% sure on this whole technique yet. I'm not sure if this is even possible. Honestly, I don't want to reset the server, but it sort of feels like that would be, like, the amount of work I'm going to put into this, I could easily reset the map, and, you know, we would spend less time just getting back to where we were, so that kind of sucks. Anyway, that's about it right now, and I'll check back in with you guys further along in the process. Okay, I'm going to try to record this for like the 8th time. I don't know what it is with this video. Normally, if I would record like 1 second, let's say, it would take up, let's say, 10 megabytes. With this video, it's like 1 second takes up 100 megabytes. So, I don't know what's going on. This video is not that long at this point, and it's already over 100 gigs, so I've got it in an external drive and everything, but let's just get through this. So I just want to say that the stitching process has not been going well, and let's set this to 0. The stitching process has not been going well. Stuff that is beyond my control is happening. Look at this, it does not line up good here at all. Well, I guess say. In some places, like here, it lines up really nicely. There's a little tiny bit of terraforming you probably want to do, but really not a bad deal there. Not too bad here either. I mean, it's not bad at all. Obviously, this is crap right here, and this is crap right here, but you know, it wasn't too bad, you know, and like obviously I might try and get those rivers in and whatever. But other things have proven to be too much. Stuff that just basically, like I had basically just recently said, I would be better off resetting the entire server, starting it again in 1.7. I would honestly be able to rebuild the iron farm, get all the beacons I have, get my base all set up, get everybody else's base all set up, build the witch farm with the perimeter and do all that stuff. I would be able to do all that faster than I could spend time preparing for 1.7 and stitching. And it's unfair to the people on the server to not be able to jump into 1.7 and play it. So since we figured out what was wrong in episode 77, where the stuff kept resetting those chunks where my tower was, I'm going to say right now that we are going to be updating pretty soon. And this is just another example of why I'm not continuing to stitch at this point, because this gravel and all that crap is deep ocean, a new biome, and it looks like crap next to something that can't generate as deep ocean because it didn't exist in 1.6. So got some problems. Just stuff's not looking too good. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some more things. I'm going to increase my speed real quick. I'm going to see if it actually works in 1.7. Effect, Seiferus, 1, 255, 255. Does it work when you fly? No, I believe this is bullcrap, this holding control to go forward, to go faster like you're sprinting while flying. I think it's just all it is a, what do you call it? Your field of view just gets more narrow or whatever. Quake Pro like, and it's just, I don't know. But obviously when I'm on ground and stuff and I'm moving, this is really fast. Anyway, let's get back to this. I don't want to run out of space again on this attempt. And it wouldn't be so bad except that I'm losing my previous recordings. Like, it's that bad. So anyway, yeah, obviously a little bit of work would have fixed this. In terms of just not copying directly on that line. The whole point of it being a straight line so I could go outside that line. But there's some other areas where I actually put in a lot of effort just to prove that this isn't very feasible and looks kind of crappy. I'm running out of night vision potion right now, but it's daytime, so who cares? Anyway, look at how this looks as it touches the water. That's kind of nice, right? I mean, it doesn't look bad at all. Look at how the stuff I copied in around whatever biome or whatever border this was. This is going into a taiga. So this would be taiga in 1.6.4 or whatever. And look at how it looks. Just not quite good. Not quite good at all. And I don't know what's going on. Look at these little patches of biomes. The copy biomes, and I'm dead serious. I checked it. I triple checked every single time I brought something in to make sure that the biome filter was on, or the copy biomes option was on. The only time it ever needed to be off in this entire thing, and I made sure, I was absolutely positively sure on this, the only time it ever needed to be off is when I copied in just the lower half of the sponges as my guide. So it's been on ever since then. I triple check it anyway. And it's like, look at what we got here. We got this, and I already, in a previous recording, I placed blocks and let that fall down to show that I'm totally okay with this. Like, that's not a big deal to me, And in fact, over here, I actually think this kind of looks cool. I think it looks pretty cool, like these. Whoa, I still have speed on. It looks kind of cool with these little sheer cliffs and stuff. And I got rid of the trees that looked all weird. I did that in previous recordings, so you guys don't get to see that was all messed up. But again, that's not even a big deal. I was able to fix that in like 2 seconds, kind of thing. So, but here's the real deal, and it has mostly to do with the way the terrain generates differently. The fact that you're basically copying blind when you're bringing in the stuff that's outside of the stitchy parts that I did in the sponges. And even when you do that, it's not coming up the way it should. It's not coming up aligned very well. My gosh, I hate the way this stuff renders in 1.7. Also, basically, the bottom line is I'm going to need to use more of the technique I sort of showed you guys in episode 77 than this stitching crap. It's just not working so good. Obviously, I've learned a lot of cool things in this episode about setting up the borders for when you use the set biome filter, which works very well in MC Edit. And by the way, I've got the updated version of the set biome filter that I mentioned I didn't have in my last episode, so I'm ready to make people's taiga biomes into ice taigas and stuff, no problem. Here we've got, like I said, I promise you, I triple checked, I never copied anything over here, and it puts these weird strips of desert in here. And I noticed this really early on when I started copying stuff in this episode. I noticed it really early on, and I thought, oh well, I'm just going to keep going, see what happens. You know, and I promise you, I did not have copy biomes option on when I copied in the lower half. And even if I had, it would have made a giant box of mismatched stuff, not just little strips like this. Anyway, so the bottom line is that I have to come up with a different technique. Things are not working correctly with MC Edit. It's just a little bit weird. My God, I hate the way this stuff is loading, and I just took a screenshot. So I mean, look at this. Look at this little tiny circlet of a different biome. That's not how it generates on the server. I don't even know what biome this is. Birch forest. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's actually what I was going to guess with the color of it. And then there's swampland, and then there's taiga right here. It's nuts. You know, it's when I use the copy biomes option with it, it's copying a little bit more than just what I grab is what I've noticed, which is obnoxious, to be honest with you. It's a little bit annoying. So here's what I'm going to be doing. If you are playing in 1.6.4, or rather when we update to 1.7, if you go to your taiga biome and you say, you know what, I don't like that this no longer produces ice and it no longer produces snow, go like this. Set F3 on so you can see your what do you call that? Coordinates. Gosh, land or whatever. Look from within the coordinates and everything. Point at what you want me to see. Take a screenshot. Message it to me somehow. Say, can you please go ahead and change my taiga biome to be a ice taiga so that it still produces ice and snow? Or you can say, please use MC Edit to remove the snow layer because I personally prefer to not have snow in my taiga biome, and I'm happy that now in 1.7 that it doesn't generate snow. And here's another option you would want. If you're like Xsampl and myself and you hate the way that snow generates on top of your Extreme Hills biome, send me a picture and say, can you please stop this? Change this to Taiga Hills, which has the same color grass, but it does not produce snow on top. Send me that, and I'll be like, sure, I'd be happy to work on that for you, and I will take care of it. And you know, if I miss a spot, like I'm gonna do my best to kind of give you a, like, even though you're not gonna notice a difference, I'm gonna do my best to kind of give you a little pattern around where it goes from Extreme Hills to Taiga Hills, even though nothing's really changing in terms of color and whatever. But if you start building something elsewhere in your Extreme Hills, and maybe I didn't change that to Taiga Hills, and it starts to snow on it, just send me another screenshot. Say, hey, could you fix this here too? Because it needs to be fixed, and I'll be like, absolutely, you know. Anyway, so that's the bottom line. That's what we're gonna do. And then basically, when we update to 1.7, if you find 1.7 chunks and it has like a weird border to it, like it looks ugly, just again take a snapshot, send it to me, say this looks weird. Do your best to even it out if it's near your base, and it's not that hard to even it out, like the biomes match and stuff, but one's 1.7, one's 1.6, but it's Extreme Hills, sort of like this, even though Extreme Hills is one of the only biomes that, like, it's just so much crazier and different in 1.7 that you just don't even have an option. I mean, look at how different this is. But if it's not very different from this, and you can just go ahead and kind of clean it up and make the transition look a little bit nicer, go ahead and do that, or ask me to come in and do that. I'll do it in creative mode, probably just to make it even feasibly doable, and we'll just do our best. You know, we'll do our best to make this look better. And if it's a different biome, I'll do my best to mesh that in a little bit better, you know. And that's how we're gonna move forward. Anyway, that's the bottom line. I apologize if you guys feel like this has been a little bit of a cop-out, that I just decided to quit it and move on, but this is sucking my soul dry right now working on this. It's been terrible. Anyway, I'm gonna call it quits. I hope you guys have learned something useful in this video. I'm sorry again if the ending was a little bit disappointing, but I need to move on, because otherwise we're never going to update to 1.7. And I don't remember if I already mentioned this or not. If I did, just go ahead and end the video, but One of the reasons I'm sort of waiting still a little bit is because they just updated to 1.7 on Mindcrack, and I sort of expect those guys to be talking to Dinnerbone, and I kind of expect changes to be made. Maybe small changes, maybe big changes, I'm not sure. But I do expect changes to be made in the future, so I'm waiting for those. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you next time.